telling everybody the good news, the core of the joy, and I appreciate that.
She usually gets you there. I appreciate you from across the shop.
What's going on, y'all? It's Josh from Team Super Shoe, and welcome back to another episode of The Shoe Show. We are not talking about dance goes. Now we're talking about the one and only core of the joy, the Super Shoe of NASCAR, and just anything NASCAR related. Super pumped to have you guys here today. We are not necessarily talking about Corey or Spire stuff today. However, we are bringing on a friend of the show, an underdog. We all love a good underdog, being a Corey LaJoy fan. Good friend of the show, Andy Jankowiak, and his mom. It is Mother's Day this weekend, so bringing on his mother, Debby Jankowiak. She has some pretty cool stories of, you know, the family and their racing heritage. You get to hear what it's like, you know, raising a son that is going to be a race car driver, dealing with some losses from the family that from racing, unfortunately, they had to go through. And it's inspiring to hear where Andy's going and just to hear it from her perspective. If y'all are on the YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, share all the things. If you are on the audio realm, please rate and review. And if you haven't hung out with us on Facebook, that's where it's all started and where we have a lot more conversation. Team Super Shoe on Facebook. It's a group on Facebook. We talk about much more things there than we do here. Finally, we have a new Instagram. Go check us out there, and we have plenty of reels and things of that nature. Otherwise, y'all, I appreciate you so much. Let's bring on Andy J and Momma J. All right, we'll start in 3, 2.
Man, well, I feel honored that y'all asked me to be on the Shoe Show.
Right there, the 73 of Andy Jankowiak. Great to see that car. Those colors, he debuted at Bristol. Those are the colors of his mom, Debby. Debby raced this car. She was a super stock racer at growing up. Andy's father, Tony, passed away when Andy was just 2 years of age. He said, "Mom's my racing hero. I love going to school saying, my mom drives race cars. She really does well." So his hero is on this race car. It's his mom, Debbie's paint scheme, her number, the way the car looked when she raced at Lancaster Motorplex back in the day. And he was just cheering her on, and it's a great tribute to her as Andy J is back here. Just the third time in a short track at ARCA. The other two starts have been at Bristol.
Yeah, I finished 8th at Bristol. Moms are so cool. That's awesome. What a great story.
All right, y'all, we are back, and we're here with our trusty co-host, Derek, and our guests of the show, Debby and Andy Jankowiak. How y'all doing?
Good.
Very good.
Thanks for coming on the show, Derek. Appreciate you, as always, coming on the show. And we kind of wanted to bring you on and talk about your career, Debby, about, you know, your history with motorsports, and you know, obviously being a mom of a race car driver that hopefully he's up and coming, and he's been doing pretty well this year in ARCA, and excited to see where he goes. And this is the week of Mother's Day, so we thought it was kind of fitting. So just appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so for the folks watching, if you watched the very first video we did with Andy J, I was doing some research because I didn't want to seem like an asshat while I was doing the conversation/interview. And Debby, when I saw your past history with motorsports, I was like, man, that's a story in itself right there. So that's the main reason I wanted to get you on. Just seeing Andy and what he's doing, and everything I saw from the get-go, and I'm sure it's the same with Josh, was all ARCA stuff. I didn't know anything about, well, other than the indoor karting or whatnot, didn't know anything about all the modified stuff. So as I've learned more about Andy and seeing like all the success with the modified cars, you know, that has also been intriguing. And I guess to start the conversation, what was it with your family when you were younger, before Andy J was even a twinkle in anybody's eye? What was it that drew you into the motorsports world?
Well, my brother sorry, my brother Tommy was racing street stocks, and I would go watch that, not every week, but when he got into modifieds, I went every week. That's what drew me into racing.
I got you. And I read somewhere that you actually worked on his team as first in some aspect.
No, not really.
I don't. Maybe I misread. I did a lot of reading.
Maybe I
But
lied once. I don't know, but no, I can't say that I did.
I'm sure you helped out.
Yeah, I used to run around and get parts and stuff like that, I suppose. Yeah.
That counts.
so
Yeah.
you were the gopher. That's an official title.
Yeah, I did do that actually. At one time, the modifieds used airplane gas, and I had a Ford Pinto, which those were the cars that were blowing up. I went to the airport and got like 6 big things of gas in the back of my Pinto and drove home.
Did they not like you for some reason?
I know,
Or?
it was pretty scary. I made some people with me.
And just to touch on it, that's how you wound up meeting Andy's father.
Yeah, he was on my brother's crew, and I used to travel with them all the time, and the rest was history.
I got you. So once now I've also seen pictures of you with some race cars and some checkered flags. What's the story behind that?
Well, Lancaster one year decided they were going to do female girls pure stocks. And at that time, Tony was racing street stocks, and our buddy Mike Tico was racing street stocks. So they had the idea, let's get a car together in case either one of them ever broke, maybe they could use it. Well, they got so far into it and realized there's no way they could use it for a street stock, but they built it anyways. And that's when I started racing with girls.
So how long did that last?
The girls were at Lancaster for maybe 2 years, and then they canned that class, and a lot of the girls already had cars that their boyfriends were driving in the guys class, but I had my own car, so I stayed in it and raced with the guys for the next few years.
Yeah, and you did a pretty handy job at wiping up the field with your little hot rod, or?
Yeah, I did all right. There was about a group of 5 or 6 guys. They called themselves the Zoo Crew. And they were always the top 5. And I kept ending up somewhere in that top 5. So they got me a jacket and let me join the Zoo Crew. I ended up winning one. That was the first female to ever win a guy race at Lancaster. That's the picture you see right now. That was fun. That's my dad next to me. Gene Emser next to him.
Okay, so that's the Gene Emser that's on all the cars that people would see if they look up anything about Andy's dad or uncle. I got you.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yep.
So, and you said you beat some dudes in that race?
Yeah, I did. I won that race, and I finished second in points. I finished second a lot of times in the races to different winners too.
Well, how did the boys handle that?
What's
I'm
that?
sure it was how did the boys handle you going out there and just kind of
The
showing
Zoo
them
Crew
what
guys
they
were
were doing
fine
wrong?
with it. They were fine with it. Sometimes if I started in the back, it was, you had guys that would definitely pound on you. But once I got to the regular guys, they were all really good. They knew I had a good car, and they knew, I was competitive.
I get you. And just for people that don't know, that's the car that Andy wound up running the throwback scheme to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same paint job. Yep.
I got you. Did any of the old school cars influence the current paint job on your modified right now, Andy? The blue one that you're running?
No, that was born in the aisle of a value paint shop. I basically just looked over the spray cans and just looked around and saw what I was drawn to and threw a bunch of things in a shopping cart, and that was it. That was my plan, and I stuck with it. So I like the aqua blue. So I was trying to figure out something that would go with it. I need to be a dark color, so I don't want to go with the black because everyone has black cars. So I tried midnight blue, and we sprayed it all up, and then I got the vinyl out and just started cutting some stuff up, and that's what happened.
Well, it's hard to miss on track for sure.
Yeah, I wanted a car that looked
easy to
different.
watch. It's easy to follow.
Yeah, no one's claiming that one but me.
So based on what you were saying about the zoo crew, now when you go to the track and you see, so we haven't released it yet, but we filmed a documentary with Andy at Talladega, and people will see, like, something I was fascinated with is like kind of the camaraderie and the fact that it's not just team. Like, well, a lot of the team members are actually family members that, from my understanding, used to work with Andy's dad back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And Tommy. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, I mean, I got invited to go to dinner with the team, and that, to me, if I wasn't already a fan of Andy J and the whole Class Motorsports organization, seeing the way everybody is away from the track, just talking and all the family members sitting there, that was pretty cool. So, I mean, that was an experience. And then you just kind of slid in towards the end of the day when everything was kind of done and you could just sit around and take it all in. Do you still enjoy being at the track and when Andy's running, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Now, do you handle his modified stuff differently than the ARCA stuff? As far as like when you go to watch the racing?
Maybe. I mean, I think the modified stuff, you have the open wheel, they're a lot closer. It's a lot tighter racing. So yeah, I suppose it's a little bit more, maybe a little bit more nervous.
I got you. So at what age did Andy come to you and let you know that he wanted to get behind the wheel of a race car? Like how early on was that?
From the time he could talk, and I'm going to say 2 years old, he was telling me he's going to be a race car driver.
Did you take him at his word?
Kind of. To this level, no.
So he just kind of took it and run with it, huh?
Yeah, I figured, he'd figure out a way to do it, and he did.
Do you think that's from, and Andy, you're not going to remember at 2 years old. You think that's from being around Papa at the racetrack?
No, it's not, because he wouldn't even remember anything like that. I think it's genetic. I could tell you things. It's definitely genetic. It's nothing he learned.
Now, not to be forgotten, Andy J gets all the attention because he's the one in the race car and he's the one in the 73. But you got yourself another son that's kind of just, for people that don't know, you got Tom over there, right?
Right.
Yeah, and he's a bit of an adventurer. I was talking to Andy about him. He's a braver man than I am. I'd be too worried about what that bird had a couple hours before that picture.
Well, it's supposed to be good luck if they poop on you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think I need luck that bad. So what is Tom doing now while Andy's out here trying to get a trophy with the in the ARCA series?
Well, Tommy does rock climbing. He climbs mountains. Well, I don't know about mountains, but yeah, they're mountains. He travels. He just got back from Peru. He's pretty adventurous.
So you get Andy starting at 2, says, "Ma, I want to race cars," and then you got rock climbing son over there. Yeah, this is a picture that you sent earlier. Obviously there's a Andy J bike there, but
Yeah.
what else? Who's the gang in that picture?
It's Tommy with the finger up.
That's Tommy Jr. That's our stepbrother, Tommy Jr.
Is that the Hill Boys?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a guy from racing, Jimmy Hills,
No,
Timmy Hills kids.
Yeah, family friends. Just one of my dad's pit crew members, Dave Hill and his brother. They stayed really close with the family, and so they're kind of like my cousins there. So just hanging out at the racetrack. So you see Tommy there. He's covered in white. That's because we used to climb over the styrofoam that they use. Lancaster actually invented the safer barrier. Nobody knows that. Well, some people know that, but they were the first ones to do it after my Uncle Tommy passed away there, actually.
Bill Colton
instituted the styrofoam wall technology, and it's been there ever since. But it was also fun to go climb on after the race, and it left a good little residue like you see on my brother's shirt there. But that was our modified big wheel. I was the driver. The division was sponsored by Pepsi, so if you won the race, they gave you a little case of Pepsi. And that was me practicing my victory lane photos for later on in life.
Well, I'd say you've had plenty of practice with that, from what I've seen in the modified world and whatnot. Just for people that don't know, we've talked about it. You've got Stafford coming up this weekend, and that race for you, Andy, that's pretty high up on a list of things that you want to accomplish, correct?
Yeah, I had six goals that I made for myself that I had to do, and I've done 5 of them. And winning the Spring Sizzler was the last one left on my list from when I was younger. So, not that I'll stop racing after that, but I'll just make a new list. But it's a big box to check for sure.
Now, how does that? Like, I know you've got the memorial race for you in your uncle and your father's name. Any thoughts or foresight on what that would mean to win at Stafford in the Sizzler, in comparison to winning the memorial race?
It's weird because you kind of would think they'd be in a similar kind of category because you think about my dad and all that with both races, but I don't know. I guess probably winning the Sizzler for me would just be, like a pretty triumphant kind of thing to do as far as accomplishment and coming back there and winning that race and probably just the natural difficulty of the race and not being local to there. There's just, not that it's ever easy to win a modified race, but with the Tommy Tony being at Lancaster, it's my home track. It's, 20 minutes from my bed. So, there's always a home track advantage. So certainly, when I step into a modified race at Lancaster, I'd say I'm probably one of the favorites versus going to Stafford when you got to race against Woody Pitcat and Ron Silk. The stakes certainly go up. But, with the Tommy Tony, it's never like it's not like it's a happy night. You know what I mean? I mean, it's not like, obviously, we lost them and, there's parts of the story there that, we certainly miss them. And, there's times where, it's tough for sure. But on that particular night, it's not a sad occasion. It's a happy celebratory, we're all getting together and we're remembering these guys and, we're going to have this big race and the stands are rocking and my whole family's out there. And, it just become like something we all look forward to all year long. So, it's sort of a different atmosphere. So, but, winning either one of those is pretty special, obviously.
Well, the world knows about Andy J. I'm sorry, Debbie. We got a bit off course. This is supposed to be about you. This is your show. This is our conversation with you. So what was it like raising those two little, I'm sure they were Hellraisers. I'm sure they weren't angels.
One more so than the other, but
are we gonna know? Are you gonna I mean, we're all adults here. We have children of our own. My kids are all grown up. So I mean my baby's gonna be 24 in October. So like I know there's some of them that just for sake of conversation, my youngest, for whatever reason, he liked running into stuff when he was about 3 years old. And we took him to the hospital every time. One time he hit the corner of a door frame and it sounded like somebody threw a sack of potatoes. So Luckily,
No,
he
they had
wasn't.
problems like that. No, they very rarely really hurt themselves. They tipped over shopping carts. Um, I don't know. They were pretty competitive. They weren't fist fighters, but they were always fighting.
Siblings are supposed to do that.
Right, right.
So what did you do to make sure that they had Lunchables in the refrigerator? You became a nurse, or
Yeah, I was going to nursing school when Tony died. I was already in school, and I stayed in, and then I worked part time when the kids were young. Then when they went to school, I worked full time.
I got you. So that's kind of just something I'm assuming. Now I could be wrong, and feel free to correct me, because we all know what assuming does. But so being a nurse is just something that you're passionate about, and
Hmm. Yeah,
I
as a
got
matter
you.
of fact, Tommy's going to go to school for it.
Really?
Yeah, he's a welder now, but he's going to make a career change. He's thinking about it.
Okay. How hands on was he with you, Andy, doing the building the modified car and whatnot, doing the welding stuff?
He came over a couple times. He's got a busy work life and a routine, and he's usually got a girlfriend or something going on, or he's traveling. So, he's not always looking to kill a lot of time. He stays pretty busy, but he's come over and played a little bit in the shop and welded a little bit, and yeah. So it's always good to have him.
He likes
Does
going to
your
the races.
Has he been to any of the ARCA stuff?
Oh yeah, yeah, he really likes it.
Oh, that's pretty
I
cool.
think he's planning on Charlotte.
Okay. And then y'all run the oval at Charlotte, correct? Y'all don't do
Oh yeah,
the road course, huh?
yeah. That's the last thing you need to do is put a bunch of ARCA guys on the roval.
Hey, y'all prove Corey LaJoy wrong at Talladega. Talladega, according to the naysayers, was supposed to be like a graveyard. Like you put ARCA guys on the track of on the super speedway, and it's supposed to get really nasty, really ugly. And I don't think y'all had one caution for other than the stage break. I mean, I could be wrong, so maybe y'all can handle a road course. Does ARCA go to any road courses?
Oh yeah, we go to the Glen, we go to Mid Ohio. Something about the Roval though, when I watch them races, just looks pretty wild. So it'd probably be. I'd rather stick with the Oval over there, I think. But certainly Watkins Glen's exciting. I love going there. We've done that a few times now. So the plan is to go to Mid Ohio this year too. So actually, I was just thinking I got to go download that on the sim and start trying to figure out how to get around that place. But those are the only two. The West Series goes to Portland, but I don't think we're going to go to Portland.
Is there a track you wish they would go to?
Love to go to Darlington.
Hmm.
That would be really cool. I've got this thing where I'm trying to. When I was little, my favorite video game was focused on the 1970 NASCAR season. So I've always had this secondary goal of always trying to race all the tracks that run the 1970 Cup schedule. So there we are, leaking gas. So Darlington and Atlanta are two that are on there. Actually, it's funny. I forgot the West Series goes to Sears Point. That was always our joke before class started when we were kind of Andy J racing. I don't even know what we were. Like a drifters sort of team. But we always had this thing like, hey, we should just load up and just go to Sonoma because it wouldn't make any sense, right? Just drive completely across country and go run the Sears Point race. So maybe someday.
So with all the racing that Andy's doing, Debbie, is there a race that you always look forward to, regardless of whether or not it's modified or ARCA series? Is there a race that you look forward to every year, or maybe a couple races that you can't wait to get out to, but just because of the environment or anything like that?
Well, definitely the Tommy Tony race. I love that race. It brings so many people out. We just have a blast.
I can't do that one this year, right?
I do. I can. I love Daytona. I like Charlotte. I like Michigan. I like so many of the ARCA tracks.
Yeah, the old school tracks like Michigan and whatnot, that's something that I myself would like to get out to one day. And I didn't even know ARCA ran at Michigan, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we had a good run there last year. We ran fourth. We had the lead for like 20 feet.
And speaking of that, dude, the past couple of weeks, man, you've been getting some really good finishes after the bad luck at Talladega.
Yeah, no, we've been good. We probably had a stronger car. We definitely had a stronger car at Kansas. We were sixth at Kansas. We were seventh at Dover, but we probably had a little bit more help with attrition there. To kind of, we're probably more like an eighth or a ninth place car. But certainly, we've been running really strong. I kept the 20 car in my windshield there the whole race over at Kansas, and obviously, that's a first rate team. So. We're not there yet, but you can see the gap shrinking, and that's always encouraging.
So, Debby, Talladega, the banana. So do you feel like sharing the story of the random people you were sitting by? And
Yeah, I went and sat on an empty bench by the big jumbotron in the infield, and these guys were sitting behind me, and I said, "Is it okay if I sit here?" And they're like, "Sure." And they're talking to each other, and they said they're laughing. They go, "Did you see the guy eating the banana?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's my son." And they became instant fans. We're all sitting there yelling, "Andy J, Andy J." They were from Canada. That was a lot of fun. Well, it wasn't.
Yeah.
that's Josh, I've been hogging all the time. Is there any questions you got for Debby or?
Oh, no. I actually inserted this in because I was just going to bring up you transitioned to talking about Talladega, and you and Mike got the opportunity to hang out with them for the weekend, and we're going to get that documentary out here pretty soon in a week or so. But I wanted to play this because I thought it was pretty cool to see, Derek told me the whole weekend how, the family atmosphere of ARCA, and talking about how everybody just felt like blue collar, relatable people. And it's cool to see, families, see you, Debby, here talking about, I think if I unmuted this video, you were talking about that, or somewhere in the conversation, you talked about randomly meeting that person, talking about the banana. But just thought it was pretty cool. And it's kind of refreshing to see a league like this, especially under the NASCAR banner, because a lot of times it feels more, celebrity kind of, it's not welcoming, at times. So I thought that was pretty cool. And just wanted to know what's it like for you to be in here and seeing his success. Obviously this weekend, or that weekend at Dega, didn't finish the way he should have. He was fourth with, I think, 7 to go. And I'm sure there would have been he would have had something for him, but it has to feel pretty cool to see, at the track and see your son doing so well.
Oh, I'm extremely proud. Especially just how far he's come and this team has come. It's amazing. That was heartbreaking.
Yeah, I noticed that, like, there was a level of excitement because you're getting towards the end of the race, and the position that Andy was in was not a bad position. That's kind of, he's far enough back to where if anything happened, he could avoid the calamity. But at the same time, seeing some of the runs that he was able to get when he wasn't being forced below the yellow line, there was potential there. And then whatever happened, and being on pit road and seeing the immediate, it just, because you see it on TV, but until you see it in person, the not knowing what happened, the Ilmore guys came over and were waiting for Andy to get to pit road, not going to make pit road, and then the immediate, so there's still hope there, when the engine guys are there and Andy's possibly going to come around, and then, once they realize that's not going to happen, and then just the immediate dejection and packing everything up and whatnot, that it was something to experience, but it's not something that I would hope, they would experience often because the whole crew over there, talking to Andy Seiss and, him mentioning that one of the benefits of working with Kevin LaPierre and the team was the fact that like they were promoting family, and, bring the family and, um, Andy's mom, who I affectionately call Mama, scolded me pretty badly for not thoroughly using the sunscreen that I borrowed from her. So, do you have any a relationship with any of the race moms that are there where y'all just kind of chat, or
Not in ARCA because I don't know any of them, but
right?
local racing, absolutely.
So
Racing, the moms, the wives, everybody,
what are we
sisters.
missing by not seeing that? Is there so as Andy goes from these different modified races, is it pretty much the same faces following the circus around, so you get to see the same faces over and over again, or
Yeah, I'm not always in the infield. Sometimes I'm in the stands, so um, I can't really say that I've met that many people from other teams.
people from back in the day they used that other than like Uncle Jake and
Right, right. Oh, they're like
yeah,
family. They're just, yeah.
yeah, yeah. And that's the cool thing. I don't think people know, and hopefully they'll see when we put the doc out that I was shocked and amazed at how many crew members were actually family members, and
Mhm.
that that's very old school stuff. Like when you see the Wood brothers, pitting it, even not that far back. You talk about the '80s with Bill Elliott. His brother built the engines, and he had family members working on the pit crew. So it's pretty cool to see that. Um, I don't want to let any important questions go, and I'm so awestruck to have you here, Debbie. And
Tell him, tell him how you got my dad to meet Richie Evans.
Oh, okay. Richie Evans, you know who that is, obviously, right?
yes, yes.
Okay. So we were at Oswego, and Tony was racing a 9-1, and
He was racing a lower compression engine in the modified race. So he was racing an engine with less horsepower, but he was trying to make the race.
right, and so there was a rain delay, but then they went back out on the track, and Tony was out there, and I ran over to Richie and I said, "You got to watch this kid. You just got to watch him." And he watched him, and he was amazed by him. He was pretty impressed because Tony made the race.
Tell him what you said. You actually said it, right?
Yes, but
Tell him.
Tony, what?
What'd you say to Richie? Why should he watch? Richie said, "Why should I watch?"
Oh yeah. Well, Richie said, "Why should I watch him?" And I said, "Because he's the guy that's going to kick your ass someday."
Now,
And actually,
speaking of
then
that,
he said, "You never said that about your brother." And I said, "I don't think my brother. I don't think that's on his list or something like that." But
now did speaking of that story, now maybe I just didn't read the article. Did he actually drive Richie Evans' car for something at some point in time?
That was that weekend, actually. So he was impressed, and he went over and talked to my dad, and he invited him to come. Basically said, "Do you want to bring my backup car to Stafford and help me out?" And he said, "Sure." So we just thought he was going to help him out. And when he got there, he unloaded the backup car, and Richie said, "Take it out for practice, see how it goes." So he didn't have any of his equipment, so he had to borrow one of Richie's fire suits. And he said he was in the lineup shoot, and I forget who it was. It was like Bugsy or somebody came over. I forget who it was now.
I think it was Bugsy.
Oh, I think it was Flemke.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. It was one of them guys. Some guy that's like, in the upper echelons of legendary modified drivers. And so my dad's sitting there ready to go out. and he's in all Richie's gear, and I think it was Flemke came over and he's just shooting the breeze with him because he thought it was Richie, because no one else has ever been in the 61 besides Richie, so he wasn't even looking. My dad was just nodding along like
and the white fire suit.
Yeah, they were unloading it, and my Uncle Jake looked at my dad and said, "Whatever you do, don't crash. Just don't crash."
See, Andy knows these stories better than me.
But that was the same weekend. It was because she went over and told him to watch. Like Oswego was like on a Friday and Stafford was on a Saturday, so he invited him.
So Richie was somebody that would go. Was it just happenstance that he was there at the track at the same time, or?
So Richie was from like Rome, New York. So, there was a lot of tracks that overlapped. It's like 4 hours to the east of us, but a lot of the modified, like Oswego is kind of in between the two. So, all the, the big modified names would go to Oswego, and, so they would race against each other. My dad was kind of on the far west end with Buffalo, and Richie was sort of in the middle. So he could go to New England or he could come to Buffalo. So, Richie obviously did a lot more racing than anybody else, including my dad. But they became good friends after that. Richie was sort of a mentor to my dad. He started building race cars, and I think they developed a really strong friendship. My dad's in the Richie book, and I think. We all think, we don't really know because he wasn't really getting to that point where he was going to retire yet. But I think my dad was probably someone that Richie thought of as maybe being the guy to step in when he did step away from racing at some point. And, unfortunately, Richie passed away too young, and, we didn't get to see where that would go. But still very close with the Evans family. Whenever I go to New Jersey, they live out there. So I always go visit them or say hello, and they bought me my first set of tires for the ARCA car, so we're all still pretty tight. So
that's pretty cool how that follows you from your father to well, not current times, but the fact that y'all all stayed in touch with each other like that. I guess that just kind of goes to show. See, I'm just watching you, learning about you, has kind of piqued my interest in the modified stuff. And I was really still am really looking forward to Stafford, because it seems like is that kind of like the Daytona 500 for modifieds, or is it just?
Yeah, I mean, like the Race of Champions 250 is a huge deal. The Spring Sizzler is a big deal. I don't know if there's any one race you can really circle and say, yeah, that's the race. But, there's definitely, a top five. And I think races like those are certainly in the top five. Being a Western New York guy, the Race of Champions 250 is kind of the crown jewel to us. If you're from Stafford, you probably look at the Sizzler and maybe think of that one. So it's more up for debate a little bit probably in the modifieds versus like, NASCAR, like it's the Daytona 500, like there's no dispute, right? But it's that they're both in that top five for sure, races like that.
Well, before we let y'all go, I have a question. So Debbie, your mama. So if Andy, this is a theoretical question, so just bear with me here. If Andy stopped racing, what career would you like to see him take up? There's no wrong answer. Like I said, it's all theoretical. Or,
I think Andy can do anything he puts his mind to. I could see him, I don't know, owning a business.
Andy J's Pizza Shop.
Yeah. It would have to have something to do with
Andy's.
racing. I think he would be a good promoter for a racetrack.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely see some of the I could see him starting his own type of program that would well, it's like are you all familiar with the Savannah Bananas?
Oh my God. I have been sending them proposals all week.
Okay. So
I'm like, listen, I am your dude. I sing, I dance, I do all the crap you do. Like, I am your guy. Yeah, the problem is, like, I got a hold of them. I was talking to them, but like, they're sold out for like 3 years. I'm like, they don't got to spend $1, whatever they're doing. It, you can't even get a ticket. So I think that's more the holdup than anything. But yeah, no, I saw those guys. I'm just like, yes, this is me. But it's funny you said that, because I was actually just emailing them like last week. We were going back and forth a little bit.
well, the owner or the guy that runs the show, I kind of see a little bit of you in him, because he's got that yellow suit that he wears, and he's kind of like the ringleader of this crazy circus. And I could see you doing something like that with whatever it is, if you get into like track ownership or track promotion or something like that. I think you could give Humpy Wheeler a run for his money for what he did back in the day.
We'll find
Just my
out.
opinion.
He ain't stopping anytime soon, though. So right now, I'm on a straight trajectory to the poorhouse. So
Well, if you're not a little broken, you're racing, you're not doing it right? So
yeah, we're
Doing it right.
more money, more racing.
So before we let you go, Debbie, is there anything that you want to share with the fans out there, the Andy fans, as Andy's mom, Tom's mom? Any embarrassing stories you want to tell or anything like that? This is your opportunity to shine.
No, I don't have anything. Just thankful for all the Andy J fans.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're here for. We're here to, we started our relationship with Andy because, what I saw back in the day with the Pizza Man story. And then when Josh saw what happened at Daytona, that's kind of what hooked him. And, here we are, got the Andy J shirt, and Josh has got the hat, and he bought a Pizza Man shirt. And, we're using. Yeah, there you go. So we're using this opportunity to grow the Andy J Nation as well, and hopefully get some attention over to Clash Motorsports and Andy Seiss and what's going on over there. And hopefully this helps out. And before I turn it back over to Josh, I just want to say thank you very much, Debbie, for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, I know you weren't really, from what Andy said, you weren't really comfortable with it. So I hope it's been a little better than what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Because
I told her I was going to talk the whole time, and
I told him, I said, make sure you talk a lot. And I ended up talking a lot.
I told her I would, so she would stop freaking out. But I was just like, she knows what to do.
Well, we thought that it was a cool opportunity. This being Mother's Day weekend, we can kind of preview a little bit this documentary that we're putting together of the Talladega weekend and just kind of the behind the scenes look. And just thought it would be pretty cool to bring you on and talk about the family history, and to see Andy doing as well as he's doing, and that you're involved and being a good mom and, I don't know, good coach, I guess. And so wanted to wish you a happy Mother's Day, and we just wanted to, and hopefully people enjoy this, see you kicking butt with all the guys back in the day, and just thought it was a pretty cool story. So
thank you.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, hopefully we get some more Debby J fans as well.
Momma J.
There you go. Print the shirts right away.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, we'll talk to you later, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy and Debbie, once again, thank you so much for coming on the Shoe Show. It means a ton that you come on the show and spend some time with us and tell us some stories about your family and the racing stories. It's cool to see the relationship you guys have, and hope, Debbie, you have a wonderful Mother's Day this weekend. And also to any viewers out there, obviously make sure you hug your moms this weekend, and they're pretty important. So if y'all are on the YouTube channel, please like, subscribe, share it. If you're on the audio realm, please rate and review. And if you haven't hung out with us on Team Super Shoe on Facebook, that's where it's all started. We have much more conversation there. Come hang out with us there. And finally, we got the new Instagram, Team Super Shoe on Instagram. Come find us there and watch some reels and things of that nature. Otherwise, y'all, I appreciate y'all once again. Until next time, y'all, God bless, stay safe, and go Andy J.